That's a sound to start the stream.
Top of the morning to you all.
Did you suddenly become Irish? An Irish cliche at that?
Not a bit. Not a bit. Not a bit.
My word. All right. I don't know how it's morning in David's world, but here we are.
Well, the thing is, actually, no, that doesn't even make any sense. We have a stunning new announcement, a huge announcement, a big announcement for us.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. 2 weeks from now, not next week, not this week, but 2 weeks from now, LangTime Studio becomes LangTime Studio.
Woo!
We will be traveling to the greatest of the Britons, as far as we know, at least the greatest of the Britons that have been discovered thus far, and we will be streaming from there, where we will have with us the LangTime's one and only Jake.
Yes.
Resident of LangTime first, let's have a booba second.
Yay! But yes, we are very, very excited.
And the most exciting part about that is the stream is going to be at some irregular time. It's still going to be on Thursday, but it's probably not going to be at 2 p.m. Pacific. So those of you...
That's right.
Yeah, and especially for those of you who are not, who rarely catch a stream live and are watching this, you know, at some other time, maybe the time that it is at will be a time that's more convenient for you and you can catch that stream live. Anyway, goodness, midnight EST. You know what that would be in Britain? That'd be 6 in the morning.
Oof.
That sounds likely.
That's not going to happen. But yeah, and also one of the general reasons is because we'll be streaming from Jake's, we need to make sure we stop the stream when there's still public transportation to get us.
Oh yeah, no, but I mean that's all right. It still goes about pretty well. Ooh, that wobbled, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
I'm also proud to say that, of course, Matthijs will be joining us on the screen because Matthijs, of course, is only in the Netherlands, which is just a swim across. I don't see why Matthijs wouldn't be there.
I think Matthijs has slightly more exciting plans. You're right. Nothing could be more exciting than LangTime.
That's right.
Don't know what else anyone could want to be doing.
Yeah. Whoa!
We'll be in Houston.
My goodness.
Oh my goodness gracious.
That's not a place anybody wants to be. Wow. So is this a long U.S. trip? Because I know that Matthijs is going to be joining us at some point in time in June.
Which will be exciting.
It seems like that's close enough that it's going to be part of the same trip.
Hey, you're right.
Yeah.
Huh. Wow. Are you doing like a tour?
For a month and a day. Matthijs is going to be in the U.S. for a month and a day.
As legend predicts, you are absolutely right.
Wow.
Oh, wait. How do I say? No, not an ejective.
Yeah. Oh, now I tried to do it as
Sorry.
Clithlasa. And I'll be there a month and a day.
Anywho, that was... I was doing Chicopsa. David's doing something else. That was Chicopsa, and that's like a line that gets used a lot, especially in Doom 2.
As written.
It's as it is written.
As it is written. Anyway, a fond hello to Con Langery. Also, have we mentioned this on the stream? I can't... I'm losing the dates. It feels like it was a longer time ago. But... if you haven't seen the announcement yet...
What?
Look at that.
Well, that's interesting. There's something up with his pen. I think it was dropped in something. Anyway.
It's really weird. I feel like... I don't know. Anyway, so Jonathan is talking about us having announced something last week.
Maybe Matthias did, and we didn't super pay attention to the month and a day last week.
Uh,
Because it wasn't
it might have been, you know what,
necessarily-
it might have been on Tongues and Runes, which would make sense. But on May 17th at 11 a.m. Pacific, but actually now I'm wondering, George, is this going to be live? Or is that just when we're recording it?
We did, however, do an announcement
Hang on a sec.
for this particular thing that you're trying
Announcement.
to
Oh,
get your
go back.
announcement out.
Okay, yeah. All right. Yes. May 17th at 11 a.m. Pacific, live, there is going to be a Dungeons and Dragons one-shot hosted by Joey Windsor, formerly the president of the Language Creation Society, also a conlanger. You might know him. That will be attended by, not attended by, but so Joey's going to be hosting the one shot. And one of the players, well, the key player is going to be George, who on Tongues and Runes has been putting together a draconic language for this first season of Tongues and Runes. And really, of course, the whole point of a D&D language is to use it for D&D. And so George is going to be trying it out. And then the rest of the party is going to be a band of miscreants, including myself and Bib, the CEO, Luridian, and then 3 others that I'm forgetting. Help me out. George is going to tell me who they are. Artifexian.
That's who I thought, but I was like, God,
Yeah.
I don't want to say it and then find out that that's not actually happening.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds. Oh, wait, no. Keep confusing.
Ryan Reynolds had
Ryan
a
Reynolds with
very
somebody
important
else.
engagement.
Yeah. I always wondered, is it, I've always said Angmashwa, and I always thought it was just a typo. Is it Agmashwa? Anyway, somebody can let me know. Agmashwa will be there. Artifexian will be there. Biblurodian will be there. Joey Windsor will be there. George Corley will be there, and I will be there. And so, if you enjoy something like Critical Role, but are looking for a kind of a conlang twist on it, that is what will be happening. Yeah, May 17th, 11 a.m., which now I'm realizing that is a Saturday, isn't it? That's a Saturday, which means that Meridian's going to be spending the night before.
No,
No?
maybe. It's Friday.
It's Friday.
Yeah, it's a Friday.
It's Friday. Is it Friday?
So anyway, if David's right about it being May 17th, which I feel like George would have corrected you.
What? It's Thursday.
May 17th is not a Thursday.
May 17th is not a Thursday.
I'm looking at my calendar right now. And also today's the 9th, which means a week from today is the 16th.
It can't be Saturday, because I wouldn't have agreed to that at that time, because we have a birthday party that we're attending. There we go. May 17th, and I should probably put this on the calendar, like my own calendar. You know.
Yeah, that would be smart, David. And also, no, we don't. Oh, we do. I thought it was, never mind. I thought that birthday party was on Sunday. Oh my, we are just a hot mess.
Okay, that is...
We'll make it.
That is May 17th, Friday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Eastern, all the times. And if you did send out a calendar invite, you sent it to something that my telephone calendar doesn't understand. And so it wasn't on there. Now I've added it manually, which is a good thing, because
Yes.
it means that everybody in the family will see it. And so they'll know.
What it means is that I will see it and I will remind David and get him there on time.
Yep.
And by get him there, I mean like sitting upright and computer at the ready.
It'll be like Get Him to the Greek, but wilder. Okay.
Sounds about right.
There we go. And we'll wish you a very happy half birthday on that day. All right. So those were the big announcements, the massive announcements, the huge announcements. Now for the smaller announcements, the most exciting, at least for me.
I don't even know what's happening now.
Well, I realized as I was setting up OBS today, like the top, like I don't know, sixth of the screen is kind of pointless
Okay.
because with a web browser it just has the tabs bar and like the URL, and
Mm-hmm.
then with the document it just has like the formatting things up there, which is not very important for anybody to
No,
see.
it's really not.
So I moved it, and now you're going to be seeing more of the screen.
Oh, look at that. I see that.
Yeah.
Oh, that
Isn't
is
that
nice.
nice? It only took, how many years has it been?
It's happened now.
Yeah, and so you know how like it seems like I don't know once every two streams either somebody in chat or Jesse says scroll the document up, they can't see what you're doing on the screen.
Mm,
Hopefully that will happen less.
that is a hope, and that is very exciting.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, extra sixth. Happy extra sixth day, May 9th. Mark it in your calendars. We'll celebrate it next year. All right. So, are you ready to do a little bit of conlangery?
That feels like George is going to be interviewing us.
I know.
I was very confused for a second. I was like,
George, you took the word. You know that I have, I created my own keyboard layout that has a lot of like IPA keys on it. Jesse's now expanded upon it. And I always called it conlangery. I did this before George founded conlangery. It was just like, oh, I need a name for this keyboard layout. I'll call it conlangery. And then suddenly, it's, oh, actually, I did not know that. George made an important announcement. Apparently, the one shot's going to be on the conlangery channel. I just assumed it would be on Tongues and Runes. Or is
hmm,
Tongues and Runes a channel?
I thought it was
Or
a
is it just a
subset of
playlist?
conlangery. That's an interesting question. I thought it was a subset. I thought you could get there from the main page,
I
like the
mean,
main one.
that
But
makes
anyway,
sense, honestly. Well, either way, uh, the one shot's going to be on conlangery. So please, yeah, Tongues and Runes is not a separate channel. That's just silly. I don't know what I was thinking. Yes, conlangery. So that is where the one shot will be hosted. So tune in there on Friday, May 17th, which is, of course, at 11 a.m. By the way, which is, of course, the usual time that Tongues and Runes streams. Um, anyway, so yeah, no, there were also two other little announcements I wanted to make because I forgot this was something that's past 24 hours. As some or maybe some of you may know, I've got a wiki that is
oh, I thought it was going to do its thing. It's
I know
it sometimes takes a very hot second for it to load.
it's been very stable of late, but I have a wiki where I keep track of all my languages and then also languages I do with others. And so we thought to add the LangTime Studio languages to it. It's been
Woo!
a slow process because it's very difficult to add these things. It's like a Wiktionary style reference. So here we've been adding things for Ravkin of late. So for example, if you go to the vocabulary and you go to something like here, Tala, um, you'll see that Tala is a word in High Valyrian and Ravkin and also Trigeta slang. It doesn't necessarily have the same pronunciation in all of these languages, but it's romanized the same way. Um, and so it's just like Wiktionary, gives you inflection information, and this stuff is kind of automatically generated, which is what makes adding things to the wiki very difficult. Um, and we have the word in Ravkin, and then of course in Trigeta slang, it's not Tala, it's Tala, which comes from tattler, which is a word for narc, or
Nice.
informant. Yeah, Tala. Anyway, one of the things that, of course, we have is etymological information, and so we needed proto languages for the Langtime languages. Many of them, it's fine to just call it proto whatever. So proto Angala is proto Angala. It's fine. A couple of them though needed names. for reasons that made sense. For example, the dog language, Hauhof, if you'll recall, is going to be the language that's used by the majority of the dogs, but there's going to be at least two breakaway clans. There's the foxes, which we're going to be doing next season in season 7. But then there's also wolves. I feel like, is there one other? I don't know. I think it was just foxes and wolves. Anyway.
I was going to say, I'm not sure, but I'll go with it.
Yeah, the fox language is going to be a sister language to Hauhof. And as such, it didn't seem fair to call the proto-language as Proto-Hauhof, because it's Proto-Hauhof and Proto-whatever we're going to make for the foxes. So we came up with a word for that, and it is Rofvrem. I'm sorry, that was very labiodental. Rofvrem. There we go. Rofvrem, which means vrem, which means the cold bark, the bark that is no longer barked. And so that is the name for the proto-language for Hauhof, which we're going to be dipping back into next season. We also kind of joke, but we're kind of serious about creating a rat language that was going to be a sister language to the mouse language. And so for that, Jesse came up with the idea of what if it was like, the older version of it. And so we came up with remember we have a closed class of adjectives in Wokotiji. We came up with one that meant old. Reduplicated, it's going to mean old, like ancient. And so we have anani, which is old squeak. In other words, the primordial squeak. So that is the proto-language for Wokotiju and a potential rat language, a potential future rat language. Anyway, we needed that basically just so we could add the names of it to the code, just so that we could put in entries for those languages. And, if you go through these languages, you'll see that nouns, many languages will have nouns but no verbs, because the noun paradigms end up being simpler than the verb paradigms to generate. And so it's like, yeah, you can see all the nouns you want, but the verbs, that'll take some coding. Anyway, so that is all the announcement there is to announce. Disembarked.
That's cute. Yeah, I like that.
All right. I'm just... Matei says it's quite cute to see that there's a Bib Universe wiki. There's a big difference. I created my wiki because I thought it would be cool and I wanted to see it, and I basically had to beg people to help me with it. With Bibloridian, I mean, his legions of fans created this wiki on, fandom.wiki or whatever, without his knowledge or consent, because Bibloridian is that big. We're not that big. We're not big enough for that. We are small enough that we have to beg people to help us with stuff. We're not. Yes, there we go. Big Floridian. I love it. Okay. That is finally all the announcements.
Yay!
All right.
I'm taking notes to myself so I don't forget them as you announce things.
Right. Okay. So, are we... Sometimes we're so small that we just accept pity. Yep. Are we ready to look at the poll?
Yes.
So, this poll was, I think, one of the more interesting ones of the season because it felt like it went through 5 different stages, where this one was winning, then that one was winning, and then it got really tight at the end. In fact, with 11 minutes to go, I kind of made an announcement letting everybody know that it was so tight, in case they wanted to take a look at it, either change their vote or add a vote, because it was incredibly tight. We were talking about negation in our Beaver language, and we came up with 4 possible strategies for how to do negation. So these are the 4 strategies we came up with. One is using a sentence final particle. This is what I did with Kinukaz. High Valyrian is kind of like this, except that the word final, the sentence final particle comes from a verb. It's now a defective verb. That's just a particle. But because it's a verb, it affects a change in the previous verb. It's a verb that, in its original state, requires the subjunctive. And so that's why this particle is actually forcing all the verbs to be in the subjunctive, which makes the subjunctive look like a negative form. Anyway, kinukahas, it's really just a particle. So that one looks like more of a particle. Anyway, but this is a perfectly valid strategy. The idea that to think about this one is like, I am eating a cupcake. I am eating a cupcake not. And that's it. Just this word final particle negates the whole thing. So that was one option. Biblaridian has showed up to say, I haven't kept a very close eye on the wiki. For all I know, it could be riddled with lies and slander. This is true, but this is exactly the type of thing that happens to famous people, right?
That's true.
I mean, people talk about you and you don't know about it, and then you look and see, oh my, they've done this thing? Wow.
Yeah, they claim you live in a lighthouse.
Yeah, they're just completely...
Don't know how that rumor started.
Basically, they're so big that they're completely unaware of what happens around them, about them. So that's kind of like the difference between, Biblaridian and his wiki and then me and mine. Like, I know everything about my wiki because I did it. Biblaridian knows nothing because, again, one of the many legions of fans just created it, and then the entire community has been supporting it. Certainly, there's got to be at least one lie, and I say a jam pot of slander in there.
Patrick that's beautiful, Patrick. I look forward to that being on there.
It's really weird that Biblaridian stole the moon. Like, I mean, he's super popular. People liked him. Everybody thought his resources online were really cool. Like, I don't understand the whole stealing the moon thing. It's just a weird direction to take. Like, we all could have done it. Anybody could have stolen the moon at any time, but none of us did it.
Got the old lasso out.
Yeah. Really absurd. Anyway, so that was option A. Okay. That was option A. Option B is a full-on negative auxiliary. And so this is more familiar. This is something like we see in Finno-Ugric. That is, the auxiliary is a full verb that agrees with the subject the way our other auxiliaries do. And so it becomes essentially, the T element of the phrase. We were talking about syntax in the Discord today. Now I'm thinking about it. It's not a particle. It actually is the driving force of all of the semantics of the sentence the same way.
By the way, I had to stop looking at Discord after my brain literally broke when there were multiple Davids, and I was like, why did David change his profile picture? And then I just got very confused. And then there was even a Jesse in the mix, but
oh yeah,
I knew that name.
That's Arias. Oh, but did you see I had tagged you?
Yes, and I didn't quite understand what it was referring to, but in part I also couldn't understand who was who.
Oh, that was Mateus.
And I was just like, what's happening? And so I left before my brain exploded because I was also trying to finish writing a section at the same time. And so my brain couldn't handle it. But I did like Jake's equation that they came up with.
Yeah.
For how many Davids for a universe to remain stable. It was the 4 Davids. Zap. And then I was like, is this like Into the Spider-Verse or...
Wait, hold on a sec.
Oh, bye, Miles. Sorry, this is now a tangent to a tangent, and I feel bad for saying something because now David's just reading his phone on our live stream.
Well, but
I'm giving him side eye.
I can't remember what channel it was in.
Oh, it was Fox.
It was Fox, thank you. Because that did remind me of something else I wanted to...
Should ask these things up front. I can help you out.
Okay. Forget this. But
But what? We just saw that episode. But what?
Yeah, he
What?
was he was referencing that episode.
What part?
The entire part of the episode where he's being asked how many lights there are.
Oh, wow. I thought there were like, I'm just thinking like there's four of the same person. So then I was thinking, well, we just saw that episode where there's a holodeck inside a holodeck inside a holodeck. And so there were technically like three different, first captains and things like that. And so that's where my brain went. And I was like, but I don't get it because there were only three iterations. And I totally did not put it together that it's like, how many are there? But of course,
Yeah,
there are five. There are five Davids.
Yeah, Patrick was because yeah, I did get that, Patrick, and I hope you saw that I did. That was that was the clown emoji for the four Krusties. That was actually one of those brilliant misdirect ones. There's a scene in The Simpsons where Homer has dressed up like Krusty the Clown, and there's a guy who looks at him and he does the thing that you expect where he like sees Krusty the Clown and a guy dressed up like Krusty the Clown, and he like rubs his eyes. He goes, "I'm seeing double, 4 Krusties." Brilliant. Anyway, so that was the other thing was Patrick also. Gosh, I can't believe I buried this leak. Patrick made the most important discovery in the history of Fiat Lingua, which is that if you unscramble the letters of Fiat Lingua, you get iguana lift.
That's what I do every day. My iguana lifts.
I was also thinking about a British version where, there's the regular elevator for humans and then a tiny little lift for iguanas.
All right, babe.
All right,
We've made it through 2 options of the poll.
Yeah.
We still don't know what won.
Yeah. Okay, so that was a negative auxiliary. There's also a sentence initial particle. This one is I made the suggestion that a sentence final particle is could be something that just goes back to time immemorial and means like negation or false or something like that. Sentence initial one is much more likely to be very French-like. And to be like an entire expression that is condensed into a thing. So like it is not the case that, or it is false that, or so on. And then D was a pre-verbal adverb, and the idea we had was something like at no time or never or something like that. It would be an adverb that comes directly before the verb. And those were our 4 options. So the last place option should not be a huge surprise, though originally this option had no votes, whereas there were it was a dead heat for the other 3. The last place option was the sentence final particle, but it did finish with some votes, and I actually had to do tabulation this time because it was so close.
Whoa.
So let me pull that up for you. Wait, no, language is where I wanted to be, right? Yes, LangTime. There we go. So that had 7 votes. Far and away the last place option, because the other 3 were quite close. But even so, the 7 is nothing to sneeze at. That's a good number of votes. All right. The third place option was only 1 vote behind the second place option. And that was the pre-verbal adverb. So something like at no time that comes directly before the verb. So then we had a fight between the last 2, which was the negative auxiliary, and the sentence initial particle. This is one where there was a clear winner at one point in time in the week, and it changed.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, winner by 3 votes between negative auxiliary and sentence initial particle is the negative auxiliary.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right.
Let me tell you, that sentence initial particle was hardcore winning for quite some time. And then I went and looked today, I was like, oh, is that really what's happening? So yeah, I wanted to be sure to alert everybody. All right. So yeah.
That's that. What?
Oh. No, of course, Mateus would never forget to vote. Never.
Mateus never does.
Right on my time. Excuse me, Matame. Yeah. All right, so there we go. So now we're going to be creating a negative auxiliary to do negation. And we can kind of move ahead.
Ooh, like I don't even know what that means for us.
Yeah. All right, so...
Did I have notes somewhere from last week?
Seriously? Sorry, I was about to say McCain. What I meant to say was McCain. Voted for the auxiliary, which means that, like, potentially, with a 3-vote margin of victory, you may have been the deciding 3 votes. You may have taken it from a tie to victory.
I just remembered this little fancy fellow as I was scrolling through. I guess I should check and make sure it's actually on screen. There, I think it's on screen. There we go.
Oh, that's right.
That's from our last podcast. I was trying to see if I took notes from last week to remember what we said, would be next. And so, well, obviously, Jake, because that's just Jake, right? That's totally British. Trying to do the worst English accent ever.
By the way, we're going to, the south of England, also called South England, which I believe in British English is pronounced Southie, I think.
Listen, I believe it. How many names just absolutely get swallowed up at the end, and I'm always like, wait, that's how you're supposed to say it. Took me straight to Australia. Listen, I can't even apparently do a bad British accent. I just go to a bad Australian accent and get all horrible.
Yeah. Let's never forget Jacob the Hanavanstanciano, Peniferiest of Sure.
Exactly.
I'm trying to find the place where we were writing up the verbs.
What we had.
Noun function, verbal object.
Here's our choices. We're right here.
Yeah. Looks like this is where we're kind of doing work right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh.
I think. Are we? No, wait. We haven't. Have we only done person? Have we done. Can we change these to full clauses yet? That's what I'm asking. God,
The question is if we've created those auxiliaries. Where are they?
I
I feel like we did.
I don't think we did. We talked about it. Maybe.
But the thing is, why would we have gone to negation before the basic past stuff? Like, this is it. These are they. Build, sit, swim, pat with tail. Right?
We just didn't create any of them, huh?
I feel like we did.
Those are the only 2 found.
Didn't we create like one of them? Wasn't this like the end of the stream last time?
No, we were going to, and then we ran out of time.
Really? Stunning. All right. Well, here, let's delete this because let's just add this to our auxiliaries because negation is going to be another auxiliary, so we just need to decide what it's going to be.
So is this form licit, or is that form like what we'll build on? God, I don't remember. This is like... I feel like I'm staring at a document that I've never seen in my life before.
Jessie commented
I
today that
am
she
so
feels
tired.
like the week went by really quickly. Does it still feel like that? Does it still feel like last Thursday was just yesterday?
It feels like time has stopped existing, and the only thing that exists is a word count on my computer screen, and my brain can no longer keep or retain memories outside of data sets that I'm working on.
Jessie's doing work, let me tell you.
And I'm so tired. And so, anyway, like, I don't know what's going on. David, I give it to you, and, and I'm here to. I'm here to pat my tail on the ground like a cute little beaver saying, it is done.
Okay, so I will tell you this. We had a discussion and we absolutely decided that we weren't going to be treating the verbs like nouns. We were, or even if we were, essentially there was going to be no inflections. Like, you remember how in Ajnamari we put the non-finite verbs into the infinitive and then we put them in the accusative?
Mm-hmm.
We weren't going to be doing that. Our justification for that was that we have these old postpositions that come from verbs that don't assign case.
Right.
All right. So at least we don't have to worry about that. And assuming that our negation auxiliary is roughly the same as these others, then we won't need to worry about that either. We just need another auxiliary.
As a really random side note, one of the other reasons that I came up with the conlang year idea was that constant struggle of like, I have forgotten everything I thought I said I was going to do with this language. And I was like, but what if you did just a little bit every day and then you wouldn't forget because you're in it every single day? And that was another thing. But then it's really, really hard to do anything every single day for any period of time. It's really, really hard.
Honestly, I understand that quite intuitively, but you have so many projects in your life that you have to do a little bit every single day. I don't understand how you do it. Like, it's not just, conlang year. Honestly, conlang year makes a lot of sense if you see the way that you kind of live your life. Or it makes sense that you came up with it, I don't understand how you do it. Like,
not well.
You should see how many times in my past I tried to keep a journal before realizing that obviously I was not going to be able to keep up with this for more than 2 straight days. And yet Jessie has tons of them. Man. Jessie's like personal output is the type of thing that some university library is going to be very lucky to have one day. Like,
I wouldn't say that.
As opposed to like, especially most of my stuff, like, where were your notes for this? I don't know. Wrote it on an envelope that got lost in a move. Weird thing, Ted of all things got me to change. Because when I was at TED in 2013, one of the things we got in our pack was a free notebook. And I was like, well, I want to use this. And so I started using that instead of stray scraps of paper to write notes on. And so now I have them. And I'm up to my 7th book. I've only lost one of them, and that one really makes me sad. But, yeah. Somebody screenshot that comment from Biblaridian and put it up on his wiki.
Got to remind him, because I bet you tomorrow something productive is going to get done, and we need to remind you that you're not supposed to be doing anything.
Yeah, here we'll say this in Biblaridian's voice. I'll do my best British accent. G'day, mate. I absolutely refuse to do anything even remotely productive for the rest of the month. Shrimp of the barbie. That's a perfect British accent, right?
Oh, crikeys.
I'm really good at my British accents. And the thing is, they sound so British.
We are doing so well at potentially...
Here's looking at you, Karis.
like offending so many people on the stream. Oh my goodness.
I have a pretty good friend, Juliet Wade. Her husband is Australian, and we had such a good time. I haven't spent a lot of time with him, but I have a good time chat with him. He's he's such a good guy. He was the only person I knew who actually watched Australian rules football, so I watched a little bit of a game with him. It's kind of fun. It's a fun game.
I agree that we need to be careful. Karis says the Home Office is now frowning at what's happening here. And poor Patrick may end up in shackles for just having listened.
That's right. Okay, so a negative auxiliary, bearing in mind we've used build, we've used sit, we've used swim, and we've used pat with a tail, and now, oh my goodness. So now we need something for negation. George says, I don't even know how to interpret this. My dad played Australian rules football in high school. Was your dad Australian? Like, how? Like, I don't know that game is played anywhere else. Maybe New Zealand and some of the surrounding, oceanic nations. But, I mean, it's kind of like Finnish baseball. It's pretty unique. Great episode about it, though, on Miss Fisher.
Oh,
Oh.
there we go.
Huh.
In Australia. That makes more sense than some random U.S. high school just being like,
Yeah.
let's play some other football.
That does sound like something that would totally randomly happen, like in some U.S. city. Like, Australian rules football is relatively unknown in the United States, except for this one very small town in West Virginia where it's been played for the past 70 years.
Someone got mistaken and read the wrong rule book.
Yeah, it's very big. It's like rugby.
But that does remind me, just randomly thinking, of London, because Jake also said there's lots of Aussies there, which is cool. I need to contact my aunt to see if I can get the address of where my mom's family used to live.
Oh yeah, you got to do that.
And see if we can actually
That's
find it.
That's what we need to do in the next, week and a half.
Make some plans.
Yeah.
Because then I could see the house where my mom partially grew up in.
Yeah. I've done almost everything like that. Like I specifically wanted to do in London that was really important. I'd love to see a soccer match over there one day, but of course, the soccer match that's happening while we're there is the FA Cup final, which is quite an expensive ticket. Anyway. Oh.
Okay, so not Karis. Patrick. I just saw Karis's name in blue, so brightly lit up. But Patrick was the one who suggested discard, lose, dunk, reject, fight against. Also, like drop, I think is a good one, just because they drop little things out of their mouth as they waddle. It happens.
So this is a point where I'd love it if we could talk about beavers and what they do. Because it's like Jonathan's suggestion, right? That makes sense because the dams, stop things.
So you could just dam it.
Yeah, block, dam, yeah. I was also thinking is there they beep, David, it's right there in the name. Do they discard anything that they make? Like, do they use all the sticks and branches that they carve up with their teeth, or do they discard some of them?
I imagine they can't all fit. You find one that's like a weird shape and it won't quite fit, like a puzzle that you're making.
Yeah.
But then again, they could just toss it on top to be extra little.
I was just wondering, since they have this element of construction, if there's any common waste products that they have in dam making. So far, I just like dam up the best. I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense. That actually makes
a whole lot of sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm kind of giggling in my head as I'm like, in English, it could be used as an emphatic marker where you're like, I damn finished it. Be very weird. But in beaver, it'd mean you didn't finish it.
Yeah. Also, like if the beavers were saying don't do it, it could be shortened to damn it.
Oh, man. Okay, okay. But they understand
Yeah.
that by making dams, they're stopping the flow of water, so they're
Yeah.
negating the flow.
Yeah, that's like, and I don't know if you remember from a previous chat. I don't remember who said it, but apparently one of the reasons that beavers build these dams is because they're trying to negate the sound. Right? It's like if there's a loud sound of rushing water, they add the dam in order to make it more quiet. Apparently, that's what drives them. And so they do see creating the dams as stopping something. It was Patrick. They have an instinctual hatred of the sound of rushing water. Yeah, it could also there. That's a good point, Colin. Random thing, Colin. Are you going to Glasgow? I'm not going to Glasgow, but I just wanted to see if you were heading that way. I know it's quite a schlep, so not everybody who goes to cons is going to go. Huh. Right on.
Ooh, good luck.
Yeah.
Who knew beaver teeth are orange from all the iron in the food that they eat?
So that's why iron brew is orange.
What? Oh my goodness. Okay, I really like to block.
Yeah.
To stop.
Yeah.
That idea of you're impeding something.
Yeah.
I really like that.
And I see your suggestion, Patrick. I want to hold on to that idea and use it differently. If the verb for to silence or to make silent or something like that derives from this verb for to dam.
Yeah.
All right. So, okay. Then let's just, all right, we don't have forms yet. All right. And that is that. So.
Is it celebration time?
Yeah, because I think what we're going to be doing next is we're just dealing with forms.
Time to celebrate.
Cheers, partner.
Cheers. That's that. Conlang done. You're right. We got something. We're done. All right. Trying to keep it all quiet. This week I won't throw David's Kopiko. So let's be polite. Okay. This week we got it.
Kopiko, guard it with your life.
Ah, Biblaridian. I understand that feeling. I love it, Jonathan.
Yeah, Biblaridian, I think your name would make a lot more sense if you changed it to Biolaridian.
Read Jake's comment.
What?
Read it.
The largest rodent that ever lived in North America was the amphibious giant beaver. Fossils indicate that it had a body length of 2 meters, 6 feet, and was about the size of a black bear. Wow.
See,
that is a beaver mount, a riding beaver.
Patrick is saying bark is the most nutritious part of the tree, really. Biolaridian. All right.
I really look forward to what comes from Biblaridian now that he is retired and you know, moving on, I think he's going to, I don't know, pick up bridge. But the kind of bridge where, so you need 4 players, he's actually going to play with 3 different versions of himself. It'll be Bib versus Lar versus the id, I versus Ian.
Depends on how you pronounce it.
And the
Could
id is
be
going
versus June.
And the id is going to be the Biblorigin. It is going to be the snarky one.
Of course.
Anyway,
not when you have enough friends, Patrick.
So, forms, huh?
Mm-hmm. We need them all. We need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. We can do this. Then we need to build some charts, I think. I'm going to pull up. I got the sounds pulled up. We need to just like throw out forms, yeah? Do you want to pick a word and start from there? Do you want me to people throw out some forms and I can type a list and we can like do some votes? How do you want to do this, David?
Well, I'm starting with the negation because I think it should be small.
Like V structure or VC, CV?
VC. And if I'm sorry, I gotta read this out. This is hilarious. Bibloridian, who has just finished, his Alien Biospheres mega series. He says in the 3rd edition of Dungeons and Dragons, there was a prestige class, can't remember the name now, that was basically an anti-druid that hated nature. That's what I feel like right now. Listen, should we occupy the same space again? I have a very large hug for you, and that will make everything better. And then you can finally start, Alien Biospheres 2, the 37-part series.
We gotta do, at some point, we gotta do a LangTime Studio language with our CEO involved. Bibloridian gotta call in and be the dominant voice that tells us what we can and cannot do with the language.
That's what he does anyway. The reason why I think it should be VC is because I think that the versed vowel could drop out. Honestly, it's really making things, it's really thwarting me that in this language we haven't done things like, nasalized mid-vowels or mid-vowels with codas and things like that. Anyway. Yeah, I agree with Patrick. It should end with a good stop. So it sounds like something being stopped up.
Ag. Ud. Ut. Ab.
I think that can we... Hold on a sec. I want to see something. Gonna move this over now. Wow.
So I don't think we can do.
This is the wrong thing.
I was gonna say that isn't the LangTime one.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think we could get an O in this form because we can't have closed syllables with the diphthong that would create the O, right?
Yeah, but like, I was thinking that, I mean, ultimately, I like your idea of AUG with AG, but I was thinking to kind of maximize the differences here. If we make it AUK and say that it voiced intervocalically just because of it being, you know, this very small morphological bit, lost the initial vowel, then we can have this modern form of AUK and then a negated form that's like ga and things like that that don't look like they're related.
I like it.
Okay.
Oh, Jonathan, it's always fun to see spellings from Middle English. And like one of them that was always so wild to me is the word such. Such a small word. And yet, if you look at the number of spellings from Middle English, there's like 40 different ones. And it's so wild.
Okay, so I think that's just going to be AUK. That's the modern. I think, right?
We didn't do a copy vowel.
No.
Okay.
And we do allow K, right? We allow everything as a coda.
I thought so.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so then that's that. And now, let's actually go ahead and try to create this. Okay, so this is obviously negative auxiliary.
Yeah, Languages found 17 rows of forms of spellings of such. And that's roughly, I mean, the list is huge and it's really mind blowing. So you're like, it's this tiny little word. How could it have had such variety? Such variety. That like nobody had a consistent spelling. And I had seen it like, I don't have access to the OED anymore. That's one of the biggest things I miss about my academic credentials. Getting me access to the OED. But you got to have a really good etymological dictionary or like Languages, a Middle English dictionary, to see all the different forms. It's crazy. It's so crazy.
And then truly irregular form there. It's either that or Akfi. But I like this one as being like really
super out there.
Yeah. And so all the other auxiliaries are going to have to be bigger, I think. So
the negation auxiliary.
What do you mean the University of Michigan has the OED online, like for anybody to use? Like you can see the OED with any university, account, but are you suggesting that without any type of account, you could look at the whole OED of the University of Michigan? Because that'd be pretty big. No,
Nice.
Middle English Dictionary.
Nice, Patrick.
Okay.
this? Yeah, it's interesting. Google, when I searched this, immediately thought that I wanted this translated into Finnish.
Whoa.
I've apparently been translating things
Let's
into
see what
Finnish.
it was.
Well, it's not complete, first of all. It's
Keski
University of
Michiganin.
Michigan Middle.
Yliopisto.
So it's like totally wrong in that way. But anyway.
Oh, hey, Logan.
Nice.
I know that Logan is celebrating with all other Utahanians, which I think is how you say somebody from Utah, for the arrival of their new hockey team. I'm sure Logan is logged on to the voting site for the new name, as he is very excited about welcoming the Utah Powder.
Oh my goodness. No, there was also the Yeti.
Utah Yeti, not the Utah Yetis. Utah Yeti. It's been a time with U.S. sports teams' names. I have no idea. I think it was the Seattle Kraken that broke everything. They were like, well, I mean, there's only one Kraken, let's just call it a Kraken. And then suddenly none of the, now I guess none of them can be plural.
Okay. There was a package pushed through the mail slot, so I was checking to make sure it didn't dislodge the entire thing on the desk. And so I apologize.
Well, first of all, let's be clear, Matthijs. That's only Utah. Real Salt Lake, terrible.
I don't know what that's even referring.
It's they named themselves. So I actually don't even know how they pronounce it. If they say Real or if they say Real Salt Lake. But it's when they named themselves that, it was based on the very famous team from Spain called Real Madrid, where Real means royal, referring to the fact that they're in Madrid, where the actual palace is.
Sure. I notice I gotta get into the mind frame of like, you're on the screen, I should look at the screen, because otherwise it's just like my profile this whole time, straight on camera, looking to nowhere, because it makes us look like we're on two different things.
Yeah.
I guess every once in a while it looks like we're looking at each other.
Yeah, and then sometimes when whenever I look at you, they see my profile.
I'm not even gonna call that one out.
Yeah. Some of the biggest soccer crowds in the United States, like I think like one of the best ones historically has been Columbus, of all places. And even though it's new, Cincinnati is a very feisty crowd as well. But yeah, Columbus, so it's always been huge there. They're probably because that was their only professional team for a while. They had a professional team before there was a hockey team there. Well, the Columbus Crew, those were the names going back to the mid-90s, where they were stuck in, 90s naming conventions. I mean, goodness gracious. The names that came out back then, there was the Tampa Bay Mutiny, the Columbus Crew, San Jose Clash. We'll never forget, and I know that he's so embarrassed because this was Lamar Hunt's team. It was this big pro soccer guy in the United States. His original team name was the Kansas City Wiz. W-I-Z. very quickly changed to the Kansas City Wizards, and it's now Sporting KC, following that faux European football trend. But yeah, Kansas City Wiz. Yeah, San Jose changed the name from the Clash to the Earthquakes. That was better. Dallas was originally the Burn. Dallas Burn. Oh, some of the worst names I've ever heard came from the first season of MLS football.
You're reminding me of because the only reason I know about that Kansas City name is because of working on Meniche. And I had come up with a route that I really liked the idea that it was going to, in the water class, mean like puddle. And but when you put the root together with the water class noun marker, it became whiz. And you were like, really? Whiz is going to be the name of a puddle? And then you were like, that reminds me of the KC Whiz. And so we're doing it. And so we kept it.
Yep.
Because David thought it was really funny. But like, it was one of those accidental, it's not like I set out to do that. It was just, we already had this other root. And I was like, oh, if we make it a water noun, it can mean puddle. And then there it was. There it was. Okay, David.
All right. So I had an idea for a next auxiliary, but I don't know what it would be good for. So I leave it to you. But I was thinking, if the root is CB, and so it's just sa, maybe SAH if we say it's not big enough for a root, or its modern form can be strengthened maybe with reduplication. But we can get these forms that it's a long A, so sa, or it's say for the SAI forms. And then, savu for the remaining form. And so we'd have sa, se, and savi.
That should be to sit, because obviously when you sit after a long day of hard work, you go, sa.
All right. There we go. Only a little screwy. Only a little screwy.
Well, we could do pat. We could also do build. Swim would be potentially close. Because it's an S word.
I have a thought. If we
Exactly, Karis.
We could have this root strengthened and come up with two different words, one for sit down and the other one to sit or be sitting. I don't know if it's necessary.
Would you, when you say strengthen it, do you mean primarily through reduplication, or were you thinking like actually like a compound?
I was thinking of stay sit. So that would be the one where you're just sitting down. And then the other one's something like start sit, or some other verb that means starting. Maybe we could use that generally. And both of those could be very small too, so that they could be just used as little suffixes.
Okay. That makes sense. Sorry, in my head I was also like, wait, it's going to be something habitual anyway, so if we reduplicate it, that could be like a source of you sit. So you're habitually sitting, and so you just are sitting. And that could be like a source that motivated it being a habitual marker, because they just used it so often. But I don't really know if that makes sense. My brain is just throwing out an idea.
How would we then do sit down? I like the idea. Unfortunately, the only one I had the idea one for was stay. Yeah, go ahead.
That one I think we would need to do something. I actually, what about something that comes from like a derivation / compound form / whatever you want to call it, that comes from the verb meaning to become. So like to become sit is to sit down. Like to to become something.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Still need a source for that, though.
Well, yeah, I mean, wouldn't we need a source for stay as well if we did it?
No, that would just be stay.
We have stay.
We just create it.
Right, but
No, for become, I mean like some sort of different semantic source, not just something that means become on its own.
a lot of languages have a protoform just meaning to become.
Mm.
But I'm going to have you make the decision, and I'm ready to come up with
Well,
forms.
I really like sa sa. I really like sa sa. So it's something to pair that with.
I like that, Patrick. Suppletive form altogether, and to sit down is to plop.
So if we do create some sort of suffix for this, or it's something that can be useful for us as an inceptive in the future. However, I kind of like Patrick's idea.
To plop?
Well, something like that essentially. So like sa sa is the modern form of sit, and it just means like to be sitting, and it lends into this whole idea that you talked about of it being associated with habituality. And then we just have a word that's onomatopoeic, which means to sit down.
So another idea is to use causative, and if you say sit down, you always have to use a reflexive if you want to say I sat down. Otherwise, you sit something down. You cause it to sit.
Yeah, no, that's another really good idea. I don't know which one do you like the best?
Well, I mean the plop thing is fun just because it's there. I think it could be quite useful to, like you had said, to create some of these other forms, like a causative with, because we may run into this again with other things, and so it's like it's just good to remember that this is an option for the future. But I do like the idea. Whereas effectively in its proto form, I imagine it would have been used like this onomatopoeia to like and somebody else had said that too. Maybe you had said onomatopoeia. I don't remember who first said the word. But something where it's like, and the branch went plop, and that just became used for like the sound they make when they whoop, kind of sit down.
Now I wonder if it was a causative, if it should be an auxiliary.
I feel like, so here's the hard part. Like, I think we should take some notes for options to remember them. But I feel like we need to actually flesh out our auxiliaries and decide also how they're going to interact with the negation auxiliary to get a better understanding of how other things should work. Like, should we continue with a wild line of auxiliaries, or should we do something else? I like the rod with the WROD.
Okay, so that's, at least we've got that. So it's there. And now we can just create, that is going to be the habitual.
Habitual, yeah.
And then status versus state. I mean, we can just keep that note. We'll just call it the habitual auxiliary. Habitual auxiliary should probably be coming first. Negative should be coming last because it applies to everything.
At least there. I know the number of charts we're going to need is
Yeah, but they're
a lot,
they're
but
teeny
it's
tiny.
it's nice that these are just like little 4-person forms.
Yeah.
All right, so we have negation. We've got our habitual. Was this one of those languages where you wanted primarily monosyllabic roots?
Oh, not necessarily, but for our auxiliaries, probably, unless you had an idea to
No, I'm
Lanite.
just double checking my memory because there are some languages where I needed to remember not to go.
Oh no, we can have bigger roots. Okay, so we've got an auxiliary that starts with G. We have an auxiliary that starts with S. We have, for meanings left, we have build and swim and pat with the tail.
I don't know if this form is available or if it's similar to something else we've done, but for it to pat with a tail, what about uhlu with the voiceless L?
Uch is our form for the partitive.
That would be a little too similar. How about avu with a V or a V?
I don't know what the difference would be between those. I don't think anything.
I don't think so either because I feel like they just become the same thing.
Oh, that's the difference.
Oh my God, we could get awu. David's favorite. Awu. I know I've told you, you may not remember, but there's like an acronym that they teach in schools now for subordinating conjunctions. And if you've gone through American school system in the last like 20 years, you probably have heard of the coordinating conjunctions fanboys acronym. But they tried to make one stick for the subordinating conjunctions, and I'm so curious to find out if it actually sticks. Where it's awubis, which I remember the acronym, but I don't remember any of the things it really stands for. If I super stop and think, I can remember, because there's like multiple of things. There's like multiple W's, like when and while, and there's after and. But anyway, there's this awubis, and I was like, that's pushing it too hard.
Let's see if okay, the sound change results in these becoming this before round vowels, but that sound change occurs after this sound change. So yes, this is correct. This is kind of interesting. Because we'll have an auxiliary that has both of the unrounded vowels. V and V.
That seems awful.
And then the other one would be, of course, vous vu.
Oh, that's right, because we have those forms that's coming together.
V, and vous vu.
You're telling me go back to the drawing board. I hear you.
Hold on. Actually, hold on. Because I think... Okay, no. It would be V, and vous vu. The W would come back.
I mean, we did have some woo kind of forms in Wokathishu, but no, not with the... I guess it depends on... woo this. Let's see if I can find it.
Woo.
This one shortened it to just awubis, not multiple. Here we go. Some people write it with 3 A's, 2 W's, 1 U, 2 B's, and then I and S. Oh, this is some good stuff. Okay, so it's after, although, as, when, while, until, because, before, if, since. That's awubis. bis. Gotta have that gem in it.
Wow.
So, like, they're really trying. And then some people shorten it to be like, well, we're just going to separate and have awubis, one of each letter. But when you look up like their charts, it's like there's two B's, there's, two S's and so on. Oh man, this is
All right.
great fun.
So Jesse, like, this is really your moment. Do you want to roll with these opposite rounding vowels?
This is my moment. God, what a sad day. You're telling me this is it?
Oh. All right. So then it would be just so that you can see it. It would be
Right, Patrick?
this one.
I need to look up the Dutch kofschip. Kofschip. With a T in front of it. How do you do that? Like, is it kofschip? Hof. How do you get a T with an apostrophe and then a TK? I am struggling already with my Dutch.
So this is what the table would look like.
Oh, thank you, Jake. I don't like that.
All right.
So what do I need to stay away from to make sure that doesn't happen?
Something that ends in a vowel.
Oh, so it just kind of becomes a
Or something that ends in ooh. If it were I, you'd get yeah. Vivu.
Now that I'm good with.
V and vivu.
Doesn't that sound cute? Review.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
All right, we should probably do regular B, otherwise it's a little bit
That's fine.
too similar to that form.
Hmm.
Okay, and you would like this for the perfect, and did you want it to start with a vowel? Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Well, I said the form. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I was throwing out other forms because my slapping the tail or patting the tail didn't quite work.
So like avi, is that because you originally said avu, right?
Right.
So avi.
Yeah.
All right.
Does that sound like? No, it doesn't matter if it sounds like patting the tail. It is what it is.
It may not, but you know what it does sound like? Have.
Oh my gosh, David. Take it all back.
Skloobert strikes again.
I'm done. You gave me my moment and then ruined it. All right. You're right, Mateus. Like, at the end of the day, you're going to screw yourself up left and right, even when you don't mean to.
All right. Let's...
Get in your chart just like you like it.
I think that's Bay, right? Yeah.
I'm going with whatever you say it is.
Yeah. And Vivi. 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 Vivi.
So that was that one. Okay. Oh, I just put a little green dot on my hand. Well, look at that.
think I'm actually just gonna change that to V. This reduction because it was VV. VV.
These. Oh,
VV.
but you know what?
Hmm.
When the beavers are like, not you, they can be like, VV. But if they're just like, yeah, you weren't there, VV.
Well,
Or V.
the thing is the negative auxiliary is actually phi.
Oh,
So
no.
it would be, if it was used in conjunction with this, it would just be whatever the
Well, the
citation form is. Oh, we need to come up with these citation forms. Oh, oh. Right. Because that needs to be a part of every single table. Oops.
well, David. Now. Yikes.
Yeah, sometimes you shuck the corn, sometimes the corn shucks you.
The first shuck, I heard something else entirely, and I was like, wow, David, you took it to a place.
I guess it would just be saw, right? Yeah.
Oh, is that the
Because these are
the first auxiliary?
Because these are the auxiliaries. I don't really know if this one would be needed,
You're not alone, Jonathan.
but it might. This one is.
I think it could be, especially if you end up kind of saying it in isolation outside of something.
I think that it's actually. You're going to have to come up with a new form because otherwise it's just going to be that, which is going to be very confusing. It's going to look exactly the same. And so I'm going to say based on analogy, it's going to show up as this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say, if anything, I would say aga as a full infinitive form, but I would keep it as the G.
Yeah, let's just stick with that. And now, so for this one, it's, oof, I think that, is actually the form, right?
Well, these we had in there, right?
No, we didn't. We never added these because we never considered it, but we should have because with all these auxiliaries occurring just with, yeah. And so this one is the same there, definitive. It's going to be that. Did we write down the meanings of these? Because I remember that Dolly was supposed to be sing, but like, did we ever actually write that down?
Well, see, that's what I thought we had. Yeah, here.
Okay.
They're right up here. And so, like, we have their infinitive forms here, I thought. Like, I thought this would just be the.
Thank you. That is. But like, we just actually need to write them down somewhere. Like they should be in the table since it's
No,
a part of the.
I fully agree.
Okay,
but
okay.
I was like, you don't need to figure anything out on these. Like, we should just look at our list, but I couldn't find it.
By the way, can you copy like a table width into this? Because these things need to be bigger.
Well, I mean, you can do it down here and like see how big they are and then copy the width and then make the other ones the same.
I'm going to make it 146. Everybody remember that. 146.
If you don't like dragging it, you can.
All right.
Ooh, hey, Magpie. Magpie is done with classes.
No.
You did that wrong.
Oh.
You're welcome.
Format. Table. Distribute columns evenly. There we go. Almost there, folks.
Where are we documenting the language? Right here in a Pages document that David and I share.
Yeah. It's quite convenient.
I feel like there had to be an easier way to do this.
I think so too. I don't know what that is, what it might be, but I feel like, yeah, there must have been an easier way to do this. All right, so we've got 3 of our auxiliaries done. And then...
Oh, we need swim and build.
Yeah, so we've got S, a sibilant. We have V, a weak fricative. We have G, a voiced stop. That's what we've got so far. We've got 2 more forms. And
what does...
And the forms, by the way, the present tense, or this imperfect one, it's probably going to be used a lot, right? The future is probably not going to be used as much. If we wanted to make one that was going to be a little bit bigger, maybe we do that for the future.
How do you feel about something like itan or inat? Something where you would get a T for the build. Or unat?
That's a... Let's see. Could we... Wait a minute. What if it was dental?
Unat? Because I thought otherwise the N would just stay around, and I thought we already had a nasal, right?
No, we don't have a nasal.
We don't have a nasal. Well, that could also be what we do for swim. Since swim has a nasal in it, obviously we need to screw ourselves and make it im. Maybe straight up we could do weem.
A weem away.
Oh, weem away.
Let me see here. We didn't come up with a form for swim? I swear we did. Weren't we talking about it? We didn't.
We, at the end, were totally going to, and then we literally were like down to 30 seconds left of the stream, and it's like you realized it wasn't going to be as easy of a thing.
Right.
And so then you were like, never mind, we'll wait till next week. And so for swim, I mean, something like, because we would want that initial, would we want the initial consonant to drop out? Like if we had a CVC form? So like make it weak, like thum?
If it was a CVC form, I would think that the final consonant should be one that we could try to elide in between vowels.
Okay.
Something like a v or a h. What else have we got?
But the h isn't a protoform.
It's not?
No. So I think it has to end in something voiceless to get the H.
I would say v or f are our weakest fricatives. A G maybe. I mean, it doesn't lenite usually, but we could say that, in this environment where K voiced to G, which it does exceptionally, maybe G lenited to Rav or lenited to Ha and just disappeared.
What do you feel about a form like moof or moof? Noof? Something with an N in it? Or nasal, I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't think we have too many oohs, so I was trying to use an ooh where it wouldn't get in the way and create some weird forms.
bear in mind that if we do that, we're going to end up with those unrounded vowels.
Well, I thought the consonant could potentially block that, but it would unite and go away, huh?
Yeah. I mean, it's potentially interesting, but I actually just want to. This is I mean, a really basic and very silly poll, but
I shouldn't base my instincts based on the fact that I don't want 3 different unrounded vowels in one auxiliary chart. That's just me.
this is your chance. This is the finals. Tell everybody for now and forever what your favorite nasal is. It's down to the.
You're not including angma, I see.
No.
So you can't say it's your favorite nasal because you didn't include them all.
Well, we're just showing the finals. We didn't show the initial rounds. In a stunning upset, the labiodental nasal beat out the velar nasal.
My goodness.
See what Toothus said?
That's just because Tethys likes to get the Toothus involved.
Oh, so I do wonder, like, look at this. This is exactly what I expected. It's really hard. 14 votes, dead even. And pulls ahead. Dead even again. Oh my goodness. And pulls ahead again. Well, you'd of course love our Firish language where we have no nasals because we originally believed that the characters were not going to have noses.
We were led to believe that.
Mm-hmm.
Nice, Jake.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I feel like also though I tend to lean towards words that's like for the nasals in particular, towards N being an onset and M being a coda. I feel like I lean that way. But, you know.
Oh, Jonathan's put up the nasal poll
Whoo!
on Discord.
Getting spicy in here.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't see a dental nasal, and I also don't see the doubly articulated labial nasal.
My goodness.
Invalid poll. But still, I'm going to vote with my heart.
If you're... What's your heart? What's in your heart, David?
Same thing that won this poll.
Mem feels offended.
That's true.
Your favorite group.
It's just too powerful. I root for the underdog.
My God, we could really screw it up and make Mem swim. It's just missing the swa.
But N won.
Like we care.
All right, so here are the options. Maybe here I'll try to do it here. Basically, all of these all have 3 forms, right? Here are the options.
I gotta go find Jonathan's poll here. Oh, Jonathan put a did I forget one option. That's dangerous. Actually, though. Oh, I found out David and I don't have the favorite because my option that I just voted for only has 1 vote. There we go. I voted in our very important Discord poll. That's why you never ask, Jonathan. You just say, I assume I've forgotten at least one, but of these, which one's your favorite? Or have a write in answer and just say other. We need to be thinking about a poll.
I know.
Because you just know me so well, Jonathan.
I should make up my mind about whether I'm using IPA or not. I am using IPA. Yes.
And yet, Jake, there are people who say that.
Now, the other option, the next.
That is true, Karis. If it's good vanilla ice cream, it is very worth it. But, man, if there's a thing of vanilla ice cream right next to a thing of like any concoction involving chocolate and peanut butter, chocolate and peanut butter is going to win every time. Although I do also like coffee ice cream.
And then we have...
It's very good. I will just disagree with you on that, Karis. I rather enjoy chocolate. I'm not a big fan of honeycomb.
Oh, I love honeycomb.
I know David does. David
Absolutely
loves it. I'm not a big fan.
Discovered it very late in life. Very, very late. Like in my 30s.
Like, I didn't know what it was. And then when I tasted it, I was like, oh, this is like some other kind of caramelly things.
Yeah, and it's called Hokey Pokey in Britain.
Jonathan, it does just taste like sugar. You're right. Oh, yeah. Sorry, Logan. That would not be a good combo for you then.
Oh.
I know, like, there are a lot of ice cream flavors that I absolutely love that have nuts in them. And, well, David's not allergic to peanuts, but the tree nuts, like almond ones and things like that. And we so often share ice cream that I usually try to avoid them because I don't want to make it so he can't eat it. But I do love a good, like, Rocky Road with an almond or whatnot.
All right. Those are your options. Columns A, B, C, D, or E.
Navu. That's cute. Okay, and this is for
Present tense.
I've forgotten what we're doing. This is present, so we're looking for swim.
Yeah.
And you have them grouped somehow.
Each of these has three forms. I suppose I could also list the infinitive.
Oh no, can you list the infinitive? Because that would give me a better idea of what the base form just looks like.
Yeah, the base forms are going to have to change pretty radically depending on how this works. So this one, it's going to be on, maybe? Or maybe it'd be the same type of thing as it would have. So swim, no, infinitive will be on, and then this will be swim, or not. Okay, and then this one, it's going to be
Oh.
and I think. Hold on a sec. Yes. Wait. No. It's going to be this because it'll voice in between vowels, and then wait. Hold on. This one, swim, is going to be something like that. Nah.
I was really just wondering.
Right. Sorry about that. And so, and then this one, it would be something like that, or maybe something like that. And this one, it would be that, and it could be something like that. Wait. No. This one. No. This one. No. Sorry. That's the one that would be enough. This one would be something like on. Right. Now this one. Ni, neef, and then noof, new. Okay, there we go.
Mm-hmm. I was looking up to find a good description of like the honeycomb ice cream. And it's really caramel candy is what goes into that. And then that's the honeycomb you're thinking of, right? Of the candy, like the where the chocolate can be on the outside.
Yeah.
Um, like a toffee. There we go.
Yeah, go ahead and look up.
And it could be called Hokey Pokey.
Yes.
It's a sugary toffee with a light, rigid, sponge-like texture. And so its main ingredients are like brown sugar and baking soda and then some kind of acid.
Yeah, so it's hard. So like as you're biting into it, it feels like, oh my gosh, this is a rock. And then as you apply pressure, it kind of snaps off like that.
And if you look at pictures, one of the reasons it's called honeycomb is because like if you cut straight down the side, there's sort of these little aerated holes in the middle of it, so it looks like little pockets of a honeycomb. And so anyway, yeah. So I was not finding the words to be able to answer your question, Patrick, but Google helped me out.
No, it is not actual honeycomb. That was the thing that confused me. It's like somebody told me that I would like it, and I was like, ew, I don't like honey. So I was like, why would I like that? Crunchy bar.
Oh, what is this? Oh, David's life has just changed.
So, I mean, I've seen a lot of these, candy bars. Like, you never know what they are, but like, a lot of British candy bars, like, like Aero bar is terrible. Like a Lion bar is frankly not good. Sorry, John. But like, I've seen Crunchies, and I was like, I never knew what they were.
Are they still on sale in the UK?
Oh,
like,
you
is this
bet.
something we can go buy?
Oh, you bet. I am going to go get them. Oh my
now
goodness.
I know what we're really doing in London.
Wonderful.
We're gonna
wonderful.
feed David's sweet tooth.
Okay. So yeah, what do you like, Jess?
I was actually wondering if we wanted to put some of we can only do 4 to a vote.
Yeah, so you could eliminate one of them. We could put 4 to a vote, and what we can do for the next poll is we can do the form of the future. Open-ended poll.
Open-ended. That means Mateus won't vote.
Can't wait.
I think, because wasn't one of our other... a second. I got to remember our other forms that we had just created here. Looking at these. Okay. Because I was kind of hoping we could... I feel like one of the forms, we've got 3 forms that are na in their basic forms, like in their infinitive forms.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like one of those 3 should be eliminated for the poll of 4.
Okay.
And I feel like it's going to be between A and B because they're very similar. The exception is the very different on versus avi. And
I say eliminate A.
I do too, because I was like, I don't even like saying that on you. And so yeah, let's vote between these 4. I'll write the poll. Do you want to change it to A, B, C, and D?
Sure.
Although I guess we could.
No, it's fine. I'll change it. Oh boy.
Do you prefer and this is going to be to swim, and that's going to be for one of the present tenses, right? Right?
The other present tense. Yeah, this is going to be the one that gets used the most often, I think, if you're just talking about what's going on in your life. Not sure if we use present or past more often generally, but those are going to be the 2 most frequent. This one that starts with N, and then the perfect that starts with... Where is it? V.
V. Yeah,
Okay.
But stay up on the columns,
So,
David.
There we go.
People need to see it.
I'll try to make it a little bit bigger.
I know, Patrick. I don't like the weird off-rounded vowels either, but like I also feel like I shouldn't keep saying we can't use it just because I don't like them.
Yeah.
And so I'm putting it up to a vote to allow other people to decide
So
if one of these forms.
column A is ni, na, envie, na, and then the actual form is going to be something like un or huh, and we might have to make it bigger. Support it. B is ne, na with a long vowel, navi, na and naf, or something like that is going to be the word for swim. C is ni, ne, nivi, ni and nif. And then D is n, na, nuvi, nu, and nuf.
Some good options here. I have a favorite. That kind of. And then I have a second favorite that's very close. And so I'm really hoping one of those two wins. Oh, Jake says that crunchies taste to them a little bit more on the bitter end of the honeycomb spectrum.
I didn't realize that honeycomb had a spectrum. Every single type of honeycomb I've ever had in many different countries all taste exactly the same.
Well, we will have to go on a little adventure and get you crunchy bars to see if you agree with Jake. Wow. I don't even.
And also, by the way, for anybody else, if you've ever been to London and you have a favorite thing that you've done, please throw the recommendation our way in the next week and a half or so. Anybody who suggests the London Eye will be immediately ejected from our Discord and Patreon. And
Wait. But could I go on the London Eye and you take pictures of me from the ground?
you've got to be kidding me.
You can take pictures of the ground.
You don't really want to do that, do you? I remember the first time I was going to London for the very first time. I was talking to, I think it was Kat Davies who was an assistant on Game of Thrones. And she's like, "Oh, you've never been? All right. Well, the first thing you have to do is go on the London Eye." And I was like, "Huh, what's that?" And so I was like, "Okay." I stored that away. And then she said a couple of other things. So yeah, the first thing I did when I showed up in London, and I was like, I'm walking around. I'm like, "Well, where do I go?" So I just look up London Eye on my phone. I go walk to it, and I'm like, "It's a big Ferris wheel. Are you joking? Are you joking?" Couldn't believe it. Oh.
Well, Jake
like,
doesn't
well,
seem to
nuts
like
to
the
this.
London Eye either.
Yeah.
Is it just too touristy? Is that? But anyway, oh goodness, I was just gonna say I think votes have been standing still, but then we got a crazy swing of votes, and now columns A and B are tied.
It's a tie, and we have the same like total number of votes as we did last poll. So I think we should go.
I swear it moved before this. It like moved twice, but only one more vote came in. I don't know what YouTube is doing.
Patrick says he doesn't like it when they're made of iron. He's not a big fan of a big Ferris wheel.
That must be it. But you should be a big fan of iron. That's what gives beavers their orange teeth.
No, I'm absolutely a fan of iron. But that was just a brilliant pun. Well done, Patrick. But yeah, for those who don't know, I mean, yes, I'm very much afraid of heights. For very practical reasons. It's not like it's some irrational fear. The thing is, if you fall down from a height of 1 foot, chances are you'll be okay. If you fall down from a height of 500 feet, chances are you're probably not going to survive. And so it's a very reasonable thing to be afraid of heights.
Patrick.
And Ferris wheels in particular have always had my ire. I'm a big fan of roller coasters, which might surprise you. But of course, roller coasters, you're strapped in and are quite safe. Ferris wheels, traditionally, there are very little to no restraints. An excellent demonstration of this is the movie The Third Man, Graham Greene movie, where there is a scene with what's his face, the whoever plays the lead actor in the movie, and Orson Welles, where they're up in a Ferris wheel, and Orson Welles threatens him because, of course, he just opens the door to the Ferris wheel and threatens to throw him out, because that's something that you can easily do on just about any Ferris wheel. You can just be like, well, just going to jump out right now, and you can do that. On a roller coaster, you can't do that because there are actual restraints, because it's a serious thing where they don't want you to get hurt. Ferris wheels are designed to hurt people, and they're designed for really, really terrible circumstances. They break down all the time. They're just terror wheels.
Since you would be with me on the Ferris wheel, what you're saying is you don't trust me to not try to throw you out of a Ferris wheel.
Oh, and the other thing,
that's what's
often
being said.
People, as a joke, will start rocking the cart on the Ferris wheel as if that's fun.
Again, you would be with me. So what you're saying is you think I'm going to, stand up and jump and move about?
Terrible.
Anyway.
Yeah.
And so we did get a winner, and it was my second favorite.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
column B is our form.
Yeah. So a good old navy B.
Did you? You do like navy beans. They're your favorite.
I love navy beans. They are my favorite.
Do you know which column was my favorite, though? Let's see if David knows me.
C.
No.
A?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. You said one of your two favorites. Wow, I'm really not very good at paying attention to contextual clues. So, envie. That's very French. Envie.
It just sounded so cute. But anyway, no, I do
right.
like column B is good. So we have ne, na, navi, and then na, and na.
All right. And then so for our, before I fill in that chart, let's decide on what the actual word is going to be. Are you good with na?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that would be the protoform, yeah?
That would be the protoform. The modern would end up just naf.
Thank you, Tethys. Oh, so, Karis, what you're saying is those pods are really stuck in there good. And no, I get it. It is silly to have to, wait in line and do that whole thing. So it's I totally get avoiding it for that reason. But,
yeah.
I don't know. I rather enjoy seeing views from up above. And so, but Jake is right. I could probably find those views for free elsewhere. And not make my husband stand on the ground terrified that I'm going to.
I'd go with you.
But see, this is the problem. He knows he's terrified, knows he's going to hate the experience, but won't stay on the ground so that way I can do something that I am not terrified of.
I demonstrate my love and devotion to you.
Sometimes your demonstration of love is, I'm going to let you just go enjoy the Ferris wheel ride.
Actually, though, as in terms of Ferris wheels and safety, I do appreciate the London Eye because it's, completely enclosed, quite secure. There are no restraints on the inside per se, but the door is quite secure. You can't just open it. It's not open air, so that is nice. Anyway.
All right.
So
it is.
No. Okay. Good.
So we're ending with that. We need to get this chart made real quick so we don't forget that this form just won. And then the open-ended poll for this week for patrons will be to create the form for build, which will not be used as much.
And so it could be a little bit larger.
It could be, I think David is saying it could be 8 syllables long.
It is funny, though, because often, for whatever reason, future forms do end up quite small, and for no reason at all. So in Arabic, for example, people still have access to the full form. there's an auxiliary Salfa. Salfa. Yeah, it's just a regular S, not a fringillized Salfa. And so, like, if you say, أنا أذهب إلى المدينة, I go to the city. You could say أنا سوف أذهب إلى المدينة. I will go to the city. سوف ultimately comes from something that means something like delay, right? Whole thing can just be shortened to sa. You just put sa directly in front of the present tense form and you're done. So أنا سأذهب إلى المدينة. It's fantastic. Like, because it's just like, wow, like, really? It looks lazy. For like a conlinger, you'd be like, you can't just take Saufa and just turn it into Sa. And it's like, did it. Same thing with Tok Pisin. So in Tok Pisin, the expression by and by, which comes from English by and by, shortened to ba. You can still say by and by, but you can just say ba. Really, really simple. We could actually do something like that, have a longer form that then just shortens up.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is the imperfect auxiliary, and it is a na form, so it's going to look exactly like this, but with n.
At least written out romanized, it doesn't look like Navy.
Oh, this is actually going to be that. Pretty sure. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Well, that seems like a mistake.
They switch?
Switch. So the protoform naf view evidently becomes nav fu.
In a great twist of fate, they meet each other on a dark corner, shake hands, switch cloaks, and walk in opposite directions.
What? The unbelievable.
Oh my gosh. All right, so while David is chasing this down, we probably need to end the stream, babe.
Frequicative voicing assimilation. This is it. This is the sound change. Look, there they go. I'm sorry, here, I gotta move this over so you can see this. Just look at this. Look at this.
Exactly, Mateus. Oza nafusa. That's a mouthful right there, but yes.
Oh my God.
Gosh.
Is this that? Okay, so it's gonna be nafu. It's gonna be that. So that's done. That's done. But I have to just go really quickly to our sound changes to see what on earth happened. Okay. Let's just go one by one. I know we're over time. Epenthetic stop insertion doesn't apply. Nasalization doesn't apply. Loss of phlegm doesn't apply. Postnasal assimilation doesn't apply. Nasal assimilation doesn't apply. Intervoicical voicing does not apply. Frequicative voicing assimilation. Frefricatives change their voicing to match the consonant they're next to.
They're both next to each other.
They're both next to each other.
And so they did a swap-a-roo. So we need to have that it's more important to go in one direction when that happens. So that's amazing. Wow. We wrote that in there. We did that.
Graham, must you embarrass us? You have to do what we think we said, not what we said.
Graham waves a magic wand, makes it all go away.
But I mean, like, truthfully, it's like especially with kind of like potential gemination occurring here, like if two occur next to each other, the result is voicelessness because they're weak. Unbelievable.
That's amazing. Okay, problem solved. You have the forms made, correct, David?
Yes.
Okay, so we've got the chart made.
Yeah.
We know what we're doing. Did you put in that little list of protoforms what the protoform was for swim?
Yeah, it's right there.
Perfect. Done and done. We can now say adieu and stay grammar and jewelry health
Yeah.
and then
Iguana lift.
iguana lift. There we go. We'll see you next week.
Fosa.
We'll see you next week. Bye. Oh my